I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz, along with Nurse Erica. We're Nurses Uncorked, the podcast that takes nursing facts with nursing comedy and makes a little cocktail out of it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nurses Uncorked. I myself am Nurse Jessica Seitz, along with Nurse Erica here, my co-host. And I'm really excited about today's podcast because there's a lot of cool things that we're going to be adding to the podcast today that are going to be kind of traditions, weekly traditions, if you will, for Nurses Uncorked. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And I also, the topic that we're doing today is a little bit different than what we've done before in the past, which has been a lot of like current events or things that need to be fixed in nursing and healthcare. But today we're just talking about some of the struggles, some of the everyday struggles of dating. We're picking nurses and dating today. That is the hot topic today. And boy, do we have some stories to share for you. But before that, right, Erica, we're going to start a tradition,
yes,
right?
Yes, we are. Cocktail of the week, because we are, of course, Nurses Uncorked, and so we always have a cocktail, and we thought we would feature a new one each week, but Jessica has done something that she won't share with me yet. She wanted to do it on the podcast, so I'm a little nervous, but she said she made a cocktail.
And I decided to take the reins on this week, and the drink of the week I have named, it's called It's Nurse Erica's Fault. That's the drink that I'm making for you guys. Yeah.
Can we get a t-shirt?
It seems like
that?
Yes, somebody actually suggested that. Can you believe it? Somebody actually emailed us about that and said that we should have a shirt that says It's Nurse Erica's Fault, because when in doubt, if we we don't know what the hell's going on, I say that sounds good to me. I mean, at least it takes the heat off of me.
Right?
Let's throw poor Erica under the bus. So what better way to start it out than the cocktail of the week is called the It's Nurse Erica's Fault. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it. And I'm going to be uncorking a champagne bottle here. So let's see how this goes. Normally I make my husband do it. So I've got a pretty glass here.
Pretty. And
this is I'm usually a wine snob, meaning that's all I drink. So I'm going out on a limb here to do something different because I normally, it's Chardonnay not all day, but you know what I mean. If I could, I would. But this is made with Grand Marnier. And if you're asking, why'd you pick that, Nurse Jessica?
Why'd you pick that,
it's all
Nurse
we had
Jessica?
in our liquor cabinet. Yeah. This is the liquor we had in the cabinet, so I looked up recipes that go with this.
Okay.
And that's how it happened. And it happened to involve, I'll show you next. So you're going to take your Grand Marnier, which it's a liqueur made with cognac and orange liqueur. Do you say it like that, or liquor?
Liqueur.
Liqueur or liquor?
Liqueur.
What do you think? I think liqueur sounds better. But I like saying made with cognac and orange liquor.
It depends how long you've been drinking.
Orange liquor. Yeah. All right. So you're supposed to take 1.5, as my father would call it, a jiggers,
Shots.
which is like 1.5 shot glasses. Yeah. 1.5 shots. Okay. I might have gone a little over, but that's okay. Into your cup. Okay. Then, so I guess I've never had this Grand Marnier, but it's supposed to taste really like orangey, hence the orange liqueur flavored. So it's like a summery kind of drink. Then you're going to take a bottle. You can drink the whole bottle if you want. But you're going to open a bottle of Prosecco.
Oh, I like Prosecco. That's good.
Okay, is Prosecco, it's champagne, right? I'm guessing? Or
yeah, but it's also also kind of wine. I don't know much about wine. I just know that I like sweet wines, and Prosecco is usually grouped in with that.
I was telling Erica earlier today that the drink involved a champagne bottle, and I always make my husband do this because this actually makes me nervous.
Me too.
I'm going to tell you guys, this is one of my anxiety-ridden things. I always have a fear that the cork's going to fly into my eyeball somehow. I don't know.
Point it away from you and away from the computer.
So I guess you untwist this thingy,
it, yeah.
right?
I always need to get like a towel
Take it off
to twist the cork out.
Oh! Ah! It popped off on its own! Holy shit! Stop! I didn't even have to do anything. Woo! God almighty! Do you see now why I have anxiety?
That
what the hell just happened?
Me. I always have to sit there for like 5 minutes and twist it out.
Do you want to know why?
Why? Did you shake it?
I put it in the freezer because the bottle was room temperature about an hour ago. So I'm thinking I might have gotten it a little too cold.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I calm back down. All right. So you're going to take your Prosecco. It obviously is not supposed to be that easy. Thank God that didn't shoot in my face. And you mix it in.
Okay.
Hopefully this is good. We'll see. Thumbs up. I like it.
You would have it again?
Yes, I would. So cheers, everybody. So
cheers.
Yeah, let's get into it. I'm so excited that we did our first cocktail of the week. That's fun.
I know. That's awesome. Yeah. So I have to come up with one next week? Is that the idea?
Yep. You got to make and it's got to be something that we're mixing things because that's what we do. Okay. We mix the comedy and the drama, if you want to call it that.
That's true. That's right.
So that's what our cocktails are like. So we're going to let Erica kick off this podcast, and we're going to start talking about nurses and dating, and why it's a problem. Because I think it can be.
You know, I'm kind of at a weird point in life, right? So I'm single. I've been divorced for a long time, and you know, it's kind of a struggle because, for me anyway, because I'm always around nurses, right? And we are still a predominantly female field, right? So I'm around a lot of women. And the men are, you know, not to stereotype, but like if you're talking about physicians, right? So you either have like residents that are typically younger, you know, like way too young for me, or you have attendings and they're usually married already, you know. So it's this weird, like, where am I going to meet someone? Well, then you go to online dating, right? Because that's just the way to go. And I've done that in the past, and I actually met someone.
Wait, first of all, how do you approach somebody at the workplace too? That's a very awkward thing because if it's not reciprocated, and then you have to keep seeing this person, like I think
it usually starts with like a flirtation, though, don't you think? Like a mutual flirtation.
I know all about that. We'll get into that later.
Yeah,
but
I know you do.
Yeah, yes, it does. It's kind of like dipping your toes in the water to see what kind of response you're going to get.
And if it's reciprocated, right, then you kind of continue with the flirting. And you know, I don't think that's necessarily the hard part, but I don't know. For me, like, where am I going to meet someone? You know, I'm not meeting them at work. I'm not like a go sit in the bar kind of person unless I'm like out with my girlfriends or something, you know?
Are you like me though, that you don't want to be out really late? Like, I don't know. Like,
I will.
Oh God. You know what's weird? If I'm at home, I want to stay up really late, but it's because I'm in the comfort of my own bed. But if I'm out, like if I'm out like at a bar or a restaurant, I just keep thinking how long until I can get back in my bed.
And get in your PJs and like be comfy.
Not necessarily to go to sleep, because half the time I end up scrolling TikTok or something. But anywho, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the dating scene at the bars and stuff is kind of scary too. It is, yeah. And so I'm like, do I want to get back on online dating? Because I used to do that quite a bit for a long time. And I met my ex-fiance online, and we were together like 4 years. Whoa. I don't know this story. What ex-fiance on... Oh, can we say what dating app it was? What was it?
Yeah, it was Match.com.
Oh, okay.
It was a while ago. Yeah. And actually, funny story. So when I first decided to do online dating, like this is a long time ago, I think the first one I did was eHarmony, because that was like the big one at the time. So their sign-up process is like hellacious. Like it's like psychological testing, and you have to answer 10,000 questions about yourself. And it's one of those like, do you consider taking a pen from work stealing? Those kind of questions. And then they ask you it like 5 different ways. So I just went through and I answered it all like honestly. And then it said it calculates whatever at the end, and it literally said, we have no matches for you. So
oh my gosh.
I was mortified.
Way to stick it to you.
Right?
Jeez.
So I think I had done it like only for my city geographically. So then I broadened the geographical area to, I don't know what, like 200 miles or something. And it still said, we have no matches for you. And I was so insulted. I'm like, okay, so I'm answering it honestly, and you're telling me that I am such a disaster that you don't have a single person in your entire database that I might be compatible with to go get coffee? Like, are you serious? I was so pissed.
I would be very pissed. Like, that is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what that says about you, Erica, but
I know it's a little concerning, right?
Yeah, see, it is her fault.
So then I went and I did a match profile, match.com, and I met my ex-fiance. Like I said, we were together like 4 years, and so I know that online dating works, you know. And even after,
was he a nurse too, or no? Was he a nurse or no?
No, not in the medical field at all. He was, he had been in the Air Force, and he had like
let's talk about that.
And
so you have experience as being a nurse and starting to date somebody from scratch that is not in the medical field. Like, did you find that you were wanting to talk about stuff that he didn't understand or didn't really get, or did you feel sometimes you grossed him out and you didn't mean to, or was there anything like that?
I mean, okay, so there's always kind of a component of that, right? Like if you're dating someone that's non-medical, especially if you're hanging out with your fellow nurses or medical people, you just have a tendency to go into shop talk, and we talk about all manner of nasty things, and it does not faze us at all, right? So that's like a, you know, kind of a cliche, but it's true. Like that actually happens. But I will tell you, if I'm being really honest, that I think it kind of hurt our relationship with me being a nurse, because my whole background is pediatrics, right? So at that time I'm working, I'm bedside, I am getting like type 2 diabetics, new onset diabetic kids every single day, every day, you know? And it's my job to like, you know, teach them how they can now deal with the disease process and how the family needs to make changes and all this, you know. Well, we were living together, and it was my 2 kids and his 2 kids, and I was, in retrospect, really hard on his parenting and on his kids, because I was like a Nazi about how my kids ate, and my kids were really active. They were both dancers, and they like ate really healthy, and he just didn't kind of prioritize the same things with his kids. And in my mind, it was, if we keep going down this path, they're going to end up, you know, probably with type 2 diabetes. And I'm the one, because I'm the medical professional, that's going to have to deal with that, you know? I was like really critical about it. And that led to a lot of, that's not why we broke up at all, but it certainly led to issues. You know, it strained the relationship because it skewed my opinion of how he parented. And I
think that knowing
left that.
It's one of those things, like knowing too much, like especially being a nurse and knowing what things can lead to. Sometimes it's like they say ignorance is bliss sometimes, you know, really not knowing and understanding all those little things about eating chips and salt and sugars and all of that can lead to. So I could definitely see how that could be a conflict. And we have this thing where we just ultra like want to diagnose everything, and we don't mean it. But I mean, even
like in the grocery store.
Like that, like you see somebody with their eyes like this, and you're like, they probably have hyperthyroidism and have no idea, or you know what I mean, like
exophthalmos.
Totally. So I mean, I guess it could definitely strain a relationship.
Yeah, it did in retrospect. There was some stuff like that, you can't help it, especially when that's your specialty and you're seeing, worst case scenario every single day. Like it does affect you. No matter how much you don't want it to, you end up bringing it home. And so, it caused a strain, but nonetheless, like we were together 4 years and we had a horrible, heartbreaking breakup that maybe I'll tell that story one day. But anyway, now I'm at a point where
I don't like that. That sounds sad.
Oh, it was terrible. I was a mess for a long time. Like,
you know what? Every time we get on a podcast, we think of the next one. We need to have a podcast on the most gut-wrenching, is it wrenching or wrenching? Wrenching, a breakup you've ever gone through. Like, a breakup that just...
It was that one.
Oh, well, we're going to do that on an upcoming episode, because I can tell you about
that
one,
would be a good episode, because it was the year that I turned 40, and I say, like, I allude to it all the time, that was the worst year of my life. Like, I had the worst year. Everything that could go wrong, horrible things happened all within 1 year, and it was the year I turned 40, and that was a big part of it. So yeah, that's a whole episode even in and of itself.
That
anyway,
isn't turning 40 supposed to be glamorous or something? It wasn't for me either.
Oh no, it sucked for me. It sucked. Yeah. So now I'm like, do I want to go back, do online dating? But now I'm at a weird, okay, tell me what you think of this. I don't know if this is just like in my mind, if I'm making too much of it, but I feel like I can't do that anymore, because God forbid, like, someone that follows me were to come across my online profile and like share it publicly. Like, that would be mortifying. I would be so embarrassed. And not that I have the biggest following out there, but that just is what's keeping me from doing that.
Like, can you believe Nurse Erica's on Tinder? Is it? If you do, isn't Tinder just like the hookup one or something? Or Plenty of Fish?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if that still exists or not.
The best one is Bumble, because that's the one where, like, girls choose, the woman chooses, basically.
See, I don't know anything about any of these.
Did you ever do online dating, ever?
No, but I did stalk my current husband because that's a whole nother story. But we had a breakup before we got engaged and married, and I
didn't know that.
I found him on Plenty of Fish. He had set up a profile.
Shit.
Yes. And so you know what I did? Me and my...
You made a fake one.
Yes, we did. And we catfished him.
So you could,
And we put this hot girl on there. Like, I don't know. My friend stole somebody's pictures. This was horrible. And we made this account and said she was a pharmaceutical rep. And, like... Yeah,
because they're always gorgeous.
Yeah, they are. And he was like, and he wrote her back immediately. He's like, what kind of drugs y'all pushing nowadays? Like, and I was like, oh, you bastard. Like, I was so mad. And I was like, I can't keep this up. So, you know what I did? I wrote back and I said, oh, sorry, I messaged the wrong person.
That's great. That's great.
I
told him in his place.
I didn't tell him this story until probably about a year ago, because I was like, he's going to think I'm psycho. Well, I am.
And what did he say?
Ew, that doesn't surprise me. You're freaking nuts. Oh, it just was like, it was like, because I asked him, I said, do you remember Plenty of Fish? Do you? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And I was like, do you remember Pharmaceutical Girl? Do you? He was like, I don't know, kind of. I was like, oh, But yeah, I did finally tell him. It was like the one...
That's hilarious.
The one secret, the one dark skeleton in my closet that I've never shared with him was that.
You hadn't admitted yet.
And it was eating away at me. I mean, and this is the dumbest... Yeah, it did bother me.
I don't think that's bad.
I don't think it's that bad, but anytime, like, when you're with somebody a long time, you have these times that you just share, like, crazy stories. And that would always... I was like, oh my God, I haven't told him about what a nut I am. Okay, anyways... But yeah, that's my current conundrum is like, do I want to do online dating again? Because I'm probably not going to meet someone organically. Like, who meets anyone organically anymore? That whole running into someone like in the produce section, like that shit doesn't happen.
You know, I don't know where you even meet people anymore. If you're not going to go hang out at a bar, you know, if the vast majority of who you're working with are women, you know, and it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of over it. Like, whatever happens.
That segues into, if you want to date Nurse Erica, email me at Nurses Uncorked at nursesuncorked.com.
Jessica's gonna vet you first.
Yeah. We'll do matchmaking on another.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh, that actually would. Watch us start to get emails, and people would be like, "Oh, she's sexy."
I doubt it.
All you have to do is talk about strikes with Nurse Erica, and she'll just.
True.
She drops her panties
I get really
for that.
Excited.
I drop my panties for strikes. Can we write that
strike
as another
actions?
That's another T-shirt coming down the. Yeah, I'm gonna write that idea down. I think this Marnier should get to me a little bit.
It's kicking in.
And I've barely had any. Anywho, so do you think you'll try the dating things one more time or no?
I don't know. There's like a matchmaker service here where I live that I don't know how they got my number, but they call me, I swear, like once a month. Like, are you ready to sign up yet? And it's kind of expensive, I think. I don't know if that just totally reminds me of like Fiddler on the Roof, you know, like the matchmaker. I don't know.
Oh, have you ever done the ones that you meet like a bunch of people in one night and you go table to table, or no?
No, I've always, like, speed dating.
Yes,
I've always wanted to do that. I've never done that. But you know why I want to do that? Because I get so annoyed when I do, like, all my makeup, all my hair, like, I get dressed up, I go, and you know in, like, the first 3 seconds that there's no way you're ever going to go out with this person again.
It's like such a waste of time
getting ready. I'm pissed. So one of my proudest days when I was doing like a lot of online dating is I managed to set up 3 first dates all on the same day. It was
perfect.
Like coffee, lunch, and dinner, and it was none of them worked out, but I was like, you know what? That's fine, because I only had to do my hair once and my makeup once.
You're like, good. hey, buddy, I gotta go. I got another date I gotta get to. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. That's like I one time when which is another story, when me and my now husband were dating and we broke up. I also went on a few dates. I didn't join a dating website, but I did meet this one gentleman. Evidently, I met him one night at a bar, and through my beer goggles, I thought he was a lot more attractive than what he was. So we talked on the phone a few times, and we set up a date, and I met him up at it was like a Chili's or something, I don't know. And when I was sober, I was like, I knew within 2 minutes that I was like, He was like, he had on like mom jeans, like, but like, it was like he had them pulled up like way high, like awkward looking, like where like the crotch area looked like this
was
long.
He trying to like compensate for something?
And he was from Boston, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being from Boston, but he was like, "Do you want me to get you a brewski? I'll order you a brewski." And I was like, I have to get out. So I ran to the bathroom. This is horrible. And I called my friend to come pick me up and rescue me. But
did you leave like in front of him, like you said goodbye?
No, I texted him from the parking lot.
You didn't? How'd you sneak out?
The bathroom was by the door, and I ran out, and my friend scooped me up, and I texted him and said I had an emergency and I had to go.
Okay, you want to know what one of the craziest like first dates was for me?
Sure.
This was online dating. And so my rule, I learned this very quickly, is don't agree to a meal. Like for the first time you meet, like you've already talked, you think there might be something there, right? I don't care. It's either coffee or drinks, because I am not going to commit to like an hour and a half of a meal with you if I haven't met you yet.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
That was
commitment.
my thing. So I had been talking to this guy for a while, right? And we finally met at Starbucks for coffee. And he texted me like on the way. He's like, I'm on my way now, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. I got there first. He walks in, I shit you not, with his baby. Like his baby. And it doesn't say anything. It's like the elephant in the room. You know? If he had been like,
wait,
did
you know he had a baby? Did you know he had a baby?
I knew he had kids.
Okay.
But I don't remember if I knew one was a baby. She was like over a year old.
But you didn't know that she would be like out on the date.
No. Right. And if he had just been like, you know, my sitter canceled at the last minute. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to cancel. Fine. Okay, cool. But it was the way that like he just didn't even acknowledge that he brought a baby. That I was like, this is so damn weird. So we're sitting there having coffee, and I go, you know, is she like, what, maybe about 16 months old? And he's like, oh my God, she's exactly 16 months old. How did you know? And I'm like,
because I've had kids and I'm a pediatric nurse. Yeah.
This is my specialty. Like, I can pinpoint any kid's age, you know?
Right.
And he was so impressed with that. And then I went into like, I think I was so annoyed at that point. I'm like, so is she, you know, just now starting to do this? And you know, I went into like all the developmental stages, and he's like, that is amazing. She just did that yesterday.
You're a genius, Erica.
Anyway, I know.
So you never went out with him again? Or?
It. No. And he never brought it, like he never explained why he brought his baby, like ever, the whole time.
Yeah, like it would have been different if like, on the way, he's like, I had an emergency. I can either come and bring, or we have to reschedule. Like something like that, I think would have been more understandable or acceptable.
Yeah. Nope. Elephant in the room the whole time.
I hate dating. Weird. I'm sorry, Erica. I feel for you, but I hate the whole dating scene. Is awful. It's just
sucks.
Yeah, it's just hard. I mean, until you finally. I mean, once you find that person and you're into the groove of it, but it's like the whole, like you said, the getting ready, the what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
What's your favorite color? What's your sign? Like, it's just like
or people that don't know how to carry on a conversation. So like you ask them a question like in a text or messaging online, and then they just give like a close-ended answer. You know, like at some point you have to participate in keeping the conversation going. And I have no desire to hold your hand and, you know, tell you how to communicate as a grown-ass adult. Like, you know, I've raised my kids. I'm done. I'm not going to teach you how to be a fully functional adult. You know, like my patience is this much. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I don't blame you for that. But I don't know. If anybody's got good advice on where Nurse Erica could meet people, I don't know. Church? Maybe church? I don't know.
I'm not really a church
I don't like
person.
Any of that.
Not very often.
I don't even like the idea of going on a singles cruise. They do that too, but I think your best bet.
I don't know. I could probably do that, but it would be weird.
It would.
I would do speed dating though. I kind of want to try that.
I think that's perfect because I think within like 5 minutes, you usually know if there's possibly.
Oh no, I know in like a minute. I know walking into the bar before I sit down if there's going to be a second date, and it's so frustrating when you walk in and you're like, you look nothing like your damn picture. Like that picture was 15 years ago. Like, be for real. I go to great lengths to use pictures that are like realistic because I don't want anyone to be disappointed when they meet me. You know,
and you know what?
Pictures.
Nowadays, that's true with filters and all the things that are out there. Like, how do you know until you really meet somebody, like, what they're going to look like?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, good luck to you, Eric.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Before we get into my drama, should we go into the new tradition that we're going to be doing weekly?
Yes, I was going to say it. Go for it.
I have it right here. I'm going to let you answer because I think that this is a better question for you to answer.
Okay.
So this is anonymous. I'm not going to say who it's from. But the question is, for Nurses Uncorked, I'm having issues with my manager. How do I deal with a micromanaging, sabotaging person? It's a great question. Erica, take it away.
This is something, I actually just helped a nurse about a week ago with this. We had a little session because her manager micromanaging the heck out of everything. And so it's so common. It's so common in nursing and especially in nurse managers. But one thing that I think is really helpful to keep in mind is that micromanaging is a sign that the person
is
lacks
evil
confidence.
I was going to say it's evil.
They could be.
I don't like
but
micromanagers.
They don't have any confidence. They are suffering from imposter syndrome often, especially with newer nurse managers. You know, imposter syndrome is like super common, even if you have a ton of it. I still get it from time to time, believe it or not. But typically why a nurse manager is going to be micromanaging is because they're overcompensating for whatever area they feel they're lacking in. And what it usually is they know that they can no longer hang with direct patient care, and that's why they don't like jump in and help a lot of the time, because they're feeling inadequate, because it's been 5-10 years whatever since they've done patient care, and things have changed. Like they're not really confident with the EMR, they don't know the IV pumps, they don't know the flow. Like they know nursing and they know the stuff in general, but to jump in seamlessly, that would be a problem, and they would be embarrassed. And so they often overcompensate by micromanaging their employees. And, you know, that doesn't make it okay. It's terrible to deal with a micromanager. But for me, keeping in mind that in the back of my mind that, oh, yeah, someone's feeling a little inadequate, aren't they? You know, kind of helps navigate that a little bit. It's hard. You know, if it's really bad and they're...
That's a slippery slope, man, because it's like I had a micromanager once, and it was horrible. Everything was about they lived to write people up. Like they were so nitpicky about 1 minute late, like, and they were up to date on like the audits on time clocks. And I mean, like, you'd get, if you were late one day, 2 days later you could be written up again, because that's how on top of it this person was. It just was petty stuff, like calling the desk, girls, voices need to come down a little bit, like as if we're in kindergarten.
Right.
Like this, like pointing and shaking a finger, like no drinks.
Oh, that's so condescending.
Oh no. Yeah, like you're a freaking kid. If you did go to vent, this was the manager that told that I don't know, I think I've shared this story with you, Erica, but I can save this for another day. But basically was like, I'm sorry y'all feel that way, but there's lots of nurses willing to take your position. So if you don't, So a lot of times I felt helpless. I don't know that there is a way to handle a micromanager, to be honest with you.
Everything comes down to like keeping records and a paper trail, but you have to kind of weigh it. Like a micromanager is annoying. It can make your life hell, but there's different degrees of it, right? So if it's just an annoyance, just keep in mind they're feeling inadequate, brush it off. But if it's really like impacting your job, if it's really causing you anxiety, well, then it's worth perhaps pursuing. But then you got to create, your paper trail. And so keeping a journal.
That's a great idea, Erica.
Is really helpful, and no one has time to sit down and journal for 20 minutes. So I always say, like, keep it so simple, like the date, maybe if you were understaffed, how many patients you had if something crazy happened, and then, manager so-and-so called me twice today about my charting. Right. Just something brief,
Well, I will say,
start to create that pattern.
That manager ended up getting fired because
Don't you love it?
Yeah, in the end, after 2 years, her evaluation from the staff was so horrible, like so bad, and all the comments, and something had to be done, and they ended up letting her go. So I guess there is something that can be done, but I think I like what you're saying as far as keeping track of the things that are happening, and then reporting it when you can. The hard part is the anonymous reporting about it is a lot easier than going to like a higher up and telling them, because you never know, that could backfire on you. Or
it can, because unfortunately retaliation is very common in the nursing profession. It can. But like I always say, there's power in numbers. So if this is happening to the majority of the staff, if you can get other coworkers to say it with you, that lends so much credibility.
I found I was always had to be the speaker for the group. nobody ever wanted to go in.
Why?
I just don't know. I guess I'm loud enough, but they always volunteered me, so I would go with everybody's thoughts and complaints. But of course, then I was the one that stood out in her face, and she like hated me even more. Oh well.
Yeah, made you the target.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So,
yeah.
Well, I hope that helps answer her question a little bit. But.
Yeah, so if anyone else out there has questions that they would like us to tackle, we will pick one question. We'll keep it anonymous every week, and we will give you some advice on the podcast. And so just send it to Nurses Uncorked at nursesuncorked.com.
Yes, and send us your message, and we'll answer you. We're like, who's that lady that always...
Dear Abby?
Yeah.
She's still alive.
It's like Dear Erica. Dear Erica.
Shit.
Dear Erica, I have a hemorrhoid that flared up this week.
She can't be still alive.
I don't think so. There's no way. That lady was cranking them out when I was like 2.
Right.
I don't know. I guess she could be. All right. So do you want to hear my dating fiasco?
Yeah. I know a little bit, but I don't even know the whole thing of it. But I know that it is quite the tale.
Yeah.
So please.
It was scandalous. So it was back in 1981. No, just kidding. It wasn't that long ago. You know what, Erica? I hate to do this, but I think due to how scandalous this actual story is, we're going to have to continue this in a Nurses and Dating Part 2. So stay tuned, guys. Part 2 will be coming out next Tuesday, and you will hear all of the scandalous details of my dating story.